Bats, spooky, spiders. Also very spooky, two hallmark fixtures of Halloween for sure. And their themed heroes from respective hero universes have their own gothic or horrific origins and elements, and especially their rogues galleries. But which of them has the more Halloween rogues gallery? Which of them is truly the Halloween hero? That's what we'll settle this week. I'm Dan Umpton, and this is the Doomcast. So Batman versus Spider-Man. Who is the Halloween hero? Who has the Halloween rogues gallery? Well, Batman is the protector of Gotham City, an old and mysterious city with its own ghosts and lore, secretly ruled by an elite cabal, stalked by costume maniacs, protected by a costume maniac. And Batman himself is haunted by the specter of his own dead parents and their murder, which he witnessed. A rich kid in a huge house dealing forever with the shame and guilt, with the ever-extended constant horror. That is Halloween, baby, right? Spider-Man's a little more on the lighter side, right? He's certainly an all-American reject who gets the power of a spider from a bite and tragically fails to save his uncle as well, haunted by his responsibility and his powers. And the directors who filmed their movies either, because Tim Burton, Sam Raimi, the first directors of each respective film franchise, both acclaimed horror directors. So really, what does it come down to? I mean, we have to give it to Batman, don't we? Batman's obviously the more Halloween-y hero. He ticks half the boxes for a vampire already without actually being one. And Spider-Man is definitely much more on the comical side. Red and blue aren't exactly Halloween colors anyway, and the whole Bat motif fits perfectly. Spider-Man's much less dour, less haunted as a character. So, if Batman's the more Halloween-y hero, what about their rogues gallery? A lot of their main rogues on both sides have very Halloween-y themes, which I don't think is expressly intentional. It's just an extension of the things that scare us. I mean, what's scarier than a psychotic clown or a goblin? Not a whole lot. So dig back to early Batman villains. The Red Monk, Dr. Death, Catwoman, the Scarecrow, very Halloween-y. A guy who specializes in fear and fear toxins, psychological torture, who dresses like a stuffed scarecrow if they were into steampunk. Hell, Calendar Man even features prominently in one of the greatest Batman stories of all time, The Long Halloween. But most of Batman's villains, clowns, penguins, a guy with a freeze gun, that's scary, but they're not really Halloween themed in the same way that Batman really is. Okay, Batman's definitely the more Halloween-y character, but Spider-Man, his rogues gallery, it's not even close. Spider-Man's arch nemesis is arguably the Green Goblin. An inverse Batman, a guy who dresses up as a goblin and throws pumpkin bombs. And there's a dozen other goblins: Hobgoblin, Demogoblin, Septagoblin, Terragoblin, Yottagoblin. Okay, made the last three up, but the pumpkins are the guy's thing. That's how much more Halloween can you get? Mysterio, his whole thing is smoke and mirror haunted house illusions. The Black Cat, Tombstone, expressly Halloween. Jack-o'-lantern, that's just a guy in a pumpkin head suit straight out of the Spirit of Halloween store that they stuffed in the old Gordmans on 22nd. Venom and Carnage, shadows or haunted mirror images, ghosts of Spider-Man himself in a way, which are kind of made of living darkness. How much more Halloween do you get? Spider-Man definitely has the most Halloween rogues gallery in comics, far and away. Which makes me wonder, what if they switched rogues galleries? I mean, Scarecrow versus Spider-Man seems like a hell of a good fight, honestly. Force Peter into a confrontation with himself? The Mysterio already kind of did that. The Joker, a killer clown, a psychopath, great. Carnage with more makeup and less cleanup. The Penguin, a Magia boss. Two-Face, Norman Osborn has more faces. With the exception of Bane and Ra's al Ghul, Spider-Man is more than a match for most of Batman's greatest villains, if you think about it. And as for Batman, well, like I said, Norman Osborn is basically just a dark mirror image. Venom, Carnage, any symbiote is probably toast real quick against any Sonics or Thermals Batman probably already has in his belt anyway. And Mysterio, for a guy who's endured far more elaborate psychological torture than Bat could possibly pump out, it is no contest. So Batman, the more Halloween hero, definitely. Spider-Man, the much more Halloween-y rogues gallery. But when you try and switch out the two, it leaves them oddly overmatched and overprepared for most of their respective villains in terms of skill and strengths. Happy Halloween, everybody. This is kind of a fun thought experiment. This has been the Doomcast. We'll have more for you this week and next. Thanks. and have a great week.